This is episode 4 for the story of Justice and the Seven Interdimensional Sword.
Don't forget, leave a like, comment about the story, and subscribe if you're new here. And most importantly, please enjoy. Justice listens carefully as Deka, slowly puffing on her smoking pipe, begins to explain the strange events that brought him to this place. The room fills with the faint, earthy smell of her herbs as she speaks, her voice both calming and grave.
First off, that last battle with Doku in his void, it took its toll, stripping some of your power and completely stripping and nearly dismantling the sword completely. Your sword, it's no longer complete. Each dimension it touched forged it piece by piece, binding it together. But Doku's void ripped those links apart, leaving you with only a fragment of its power.
She taps her pipe thoughtfully, watching Justice's reaction.
Without that amulet, the sword would be no more than an empty hilt.
Justice looks down at the amulet in his hand, feeling the weight of her words. The amulet had saved him and his weapon, but he knew this quest to restore it was far from over. Deka continues,
There's more. When Donovan arrived here, I sensed the presence of the time sword. Fragments of it, at least. It's strange, but I feel there's a connection between him and the sword. It's like the two are bound in ways that I don't fully understand yet.
Justice's eyes narrow, considering the implications.
You think Donovan might have pieces of the time sword?
Deka nods slowly.
It's a suspicion, but there's something about him that resonates with it. And there's one more thing. Since you've arrived, time itself moves differently here. It feels slower, distorted. I can't directly intervene, so I need you to go and find out what's happening.
Justice, still absorbing the gravity of her words, asks,
Didn't you say there were two kings here?
Deka nodding her head yes, as her eyes distant as if peering into realms beyond sight.
But it's hard to discern their nature from here. There's something elusive about their existence, like shadows behind a curtain. I sense that they, too, are tied to the changes in this dimension.
Deka hands the sword and amulet back to Justice, her expression softening.
You need to rest, Justice, but stay vigilant. Something tells me that answers will come, just not in the ways you expect.
Justice hesitates, then nods. But rather than sleep, he decides to venture into the town, hoping to gather information on Donovan or the so-called kings. He wanders the cobbled streets, blending into the crowd. After a while, he finds himself outside a lively bar with music playing and decides to go in, hoping to eavesdrop on some local gossip. The moment he steps in, however, the atmosphere shifts, and the music stops. The barkeep gives him an odd, hostile look, and Justice orders his usual, hoping to slip into the flow of the place. But the barkeep's expression hardens.
You're not a regular. Go back to where you came from.
Justice realizes he's made a mistake, but he tries to recover. He replies, his tone light but guarded.
Okay, I see. If you don't know what to drink is, it's called Hell of a Special. 2 double shots of tequila, 2 of Crown, 1 of brandy, a shot of whiskey, cranberry juice, and a squirt of lemon.
The barkeep's face twists in confusion and frustration.
I'm not making that crap. Go to hell.
Justice clenches his jaw, biting back words in his frustration. Without thinking, Justice muttered,
What does a man have to do to get a drink around here, huh?
The entire bar falls silent. Dozens of eyes turn toward him, radiating anger and hostility. Murmurs ripple through the crowd, voices dripping with scorn.
Who the hell are you?
Let's gut him. Screw you, Dave. Skin him alive. Let's kick his ass. Some of the things that people in were shouting directly at Justice. Justice, now confused, turns to the now angry mob in the bar.
Okay, can I ask, is it wrong for me to order a drink at the bar? Why are y'all people being so hostile right now? Let's all have a drink. That's what we're here to do, right? And who the hell is Dave?
Soon as he can finish his response, a man lunges forward and punches him in the jaw. Stumbling back, Justice realizes he's in for a fight. A swarm of angry patrons surrounds him, fists flying from every direction. Justice blocks and dodges, delivering a quick jab to one attacker and a brutal kick to another. But the crowd is relentless, their anger irrational and overwhelming. Tables and chairs crash to the floor as the chaos escalates. One man grabs a bottle and swings it at Justice's head. Justice ducks, grabs the man's wrist and twists, sending him sprawling into a nearby table. Another attacker charges him, but Justice sidesteps and sweeps his leg out, knocking the man down. Despite his skill, the sheer number of people wears him down. He backs toward the door, realizing he needs to escape before the entire bar falls upon him. Another patron lunges at him, hitting Justice in the stomach and in the jaw. Justice, now desperate, seizes a broken bottle, swinging it defensively to keep the crowd at bay. Spotting an opening, he dashes through the narrow hallway toward the exit. He bursts through the back door into the night, screaming, "I just wanted a drink!" as he hears the angry shouts fading behind him. He keeps running, cutting through shadowed alleys until he's certain he's alone. He stops, leaning against a wall to catch his breath. His lip is bleeding and his muscles ache, but he's alive. And he's learned one crucial detail. The hostility in this town is unnatural, pervasive. After escaping the chaos of the bar, Justice takes a moment to steady his breath, leaning against the cold stone wall in the dimly lit alley. His jaw throbs from the punch, and he can feel a small trickle of blood down his chin. He wipes it away, frustration simmering beneath the surface. He came out looking for answers, but instead, he's only encountered more confusion and hostility. The sounds of the angry crowd gradually fade as he moves deeper into the maze of winding alleys. He keeps his steps light and his senses sharp, listening for any signs of pursuit. The shadows twist and shift in the moonlight, casting an almost surreal glow over the cobbled streets. He realizes he's wandered into a part of town he doesn't recognize. Suddenly, a faint rustling catches his attention. Justice pauses, one hand instinctively moving to his sword. He glances around, searching for the source. Out of the corner of his eye, he catches a flash of movement, a figure slipping silently through the shadows, keeping just out of sight. "Show yourself," Justice calls out, his voice low and controlled. His hand tightens on the hilt of his sword, even though he knows it's far from its full strength.
Silence, you fool.
Then a soft, mocking chuckle echoes down the alley. The figure steps into view, a tall, cloaked man with sharp, calculating eyes. A glint of recognition flickers through Justice's mind. The man looks familiar, but he can't quite place him.
Interesting choice of drink, the stranger says, voice dripping with a sneer. You know, ordering something like that was bound to draw attention.
Justice narrows his eyes.
And I have the pleasure of speaking to who now?
The man smiles, a smirk that doesn't reach his eyes.
Names are not important. But let's just say I'm someone with an eye on newcomers, especially those who have an unusual knack for stirring things up.
Justice studies the man, weighing his options.
I'm not new here, so if you've got a point, better get to it.
The man's smile fades, replaced by a cold, calculating stare.
You shouldn't be here, Justice. Not in LaHero, and certainly not anywhere near Donovan or the two kings you're so curious about.
He pauses, letting his words sink in.
Consider this your only warning. Turn around, leave LaHero, and perhaps your path will be a little less treacherous.
Justice scoffs, unfazed, yet amused.
Thanks for the advice, but I'm here for answers. Could be some things I need here. Plus, I'm not too good on taking orders from weirdos hiding in shadows.
The man's expression hardens.
I see, so stubborn as always.
He raises his hand, and for a split second the air hums with a strange energy. Something Justice can't quite identify, but it feels familiar, like remnants of the darkness, but not of the void. Justice, still processing who this man could be, readies his sword.
If you made it this far into the story, congratulations. You're as crazy as I thought you were. But if you are enjoying this, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you want more content like this. Welcome to my world of nonsensical mess.
Also, don't forget to check the rest of my channel. We do live Jackbox streams, Saturday 8:30 Central Time, or my other content such as gaming, live streams, and instrumentals.
Hey, you two sorry lowlife bastards. What are you doing? The story is not going to write itself, you know. Get back to work.
Yep. Well, production is pretty mad, as always. So I guess it's time to go. Please enjoy the rest of the story.
Suddenly, Deka saunters into the alley with her usual stride of confidence. Her smirk is sharp and knowing, her eyes narrowing at the cloaked figure. Deka drawls, her voice dripping with casual sarcasm.
Still skulking around in alleys and giving cryptic warnings? Or is this your new hobby, Asar?
The man, caught mid-preparation for what Justice assumed was another attack, freezes and slowly turns to face Deka. His stern expression softens into a wry grin, then dropping his raised hand.
Huh, who the... Ah, Deka, still meddling in things you shouldn't be? Or do you just enjoy saving our dense friend here?
Someone's got to keep him alive.
Deka quips, strolling toward them while chuckling.
Besides, it's always fun seeing you act all serious. You might can get some things done for yourself.
Justice, rubbing his jaw and glaring at the two, interrupts.
Hold on, we know him? And what the hell do you mean, dense?
Oh, come on, Justice. You don't remember Asar? Granted, you don't remember much of anything, but this guy?
Justice squints at Asar, pieces of memory beginning to surface.
Wait, you're that guy I met in another dimension. The one who wouldn't stop pulling stupid pranks, but then wiped out an entire town when someone went after your family.
Asar chuckles. Ah, finally. The gears in that thick skull are turning. Good to see you haven't lost all your brain cells, though it seems like a close call.
Justice crosses his arms, scowling, replies, "Ha, very funny." Deka, clearly amused, gestures for them to follow her back to her place.
All right, boys, enough bickering. Let's talk somewhere less exposed. My place isn't far.
They retreat back to Deka's place, a hidden and cozy sanctuary filled with artifacts, glowing herbs, and strange scrolls sprawled across every surface. Once they settle, Asar leans back in his chair and begins to explain.
I've been keeping tabs on the kings for over 5 years. Their time, he starts, glancing at Deka. That's why this whole thing feels so warped. Time here doesn't flow naturally. A single year out there is like 5 or more years here. That's why this place is off.
Ah, makes sense. That's how long I've noticed the shift. And the presence of the time sword. You're saying that timeline distortion is in fact tied to them?
Absolutely. The people here are under some kind of trance. They believe the kings, specifically the one they call the Timeless King, are eternal, and they'll do anything to protect that belief.
So you're saying this king or Donovan is messing with time, and somehow the time sword fragments are involved?
Haha, still slow as ever, huh, Justice? Honestly, sometimes I wonder how you've survived this long.
It's a mystery to us all, Deka. I mean, it's not every day you meet a hero with the brain power of a rusty spoon or a goldfish or a deer that in the road.
Hey, I can hear you two, you know? I'm just right here. I'm not dumb, all right? I just process things differently. And it takes me a minute to realize it. Thank you very much.
Sure, Justice. Let's just say you're unique.
Unique as a wet paper bag, ha ha ha.
As they continue to piece together the mystery, Deka and Asar taking turns ribbing Justice, their light-hearted banter is suddenly interrupted by a loud, sharp knock at the door. Deka instantly tenses, her playful demeanor replaced by a cold seriousness. She steps toward the door, her voice firm.
Who's there?
A gruff voice replies from the other side. The king's guard opened the door immediately.
The room falls silent as the three exchange tense looks. Justice grips the hilt of his sword, though it remains weak. Deka glances at Asar, who nods grimly, his playful smirk gone. Whatever comes next, they know the stakes have just been raised. To be continued in Part 5. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.